hit the button. Yes, response video to Anekantavad, mostly. But yeah, it's just all these half-religious people. Even the logic rolls a dice guy. I don't know. I'm wondering. I don't understand. This whole comment section is totally incomprehensible. Just dealing with this idea that, okay, we're conscious. What does that mean? And I just don't see it as a difficult question, especially anymore. I mean, science, even in my lifetime, the science has gotten harder and harder and harder in terms of the evidence of what we are. Evolution's only been made more and more secure as a description of our reality. And so we know consciousness is just a manifestation of one of the tools that we're given as part of the game of, get the goodies, get the energy, steal the energy. That's the game being played by the living creatures on planet Earth. To replicate a molecule, and you're given tools to do that with. And so, I mean, the origins of our consciousness are clearly understandable. There's no reasonable doubt. There really isn't any reason. There's no rational reason to see there anything missing in the evidence of evolution being the origin of our biological makeup, and that our consciousness is a brain function. That's why we have so many neurons, is they're producing consciousness. And it's an illusion. It's a function of electricity, a projection. But yeah, as Einstein would say, one hell of a projection. And why does it exist in the form it exists in? It's because it worked. The first thing it did was create an agenda engine that created feelings, and then it expanded on a rudimentary reflexive machinery that could do something about that agenda. So essentially our feelings make problems real. The problems are how to motivate the organism, how to get the organism to survive. And feelings make that happen. They give you a loud and clear incentive to do certain things. And your brain is just a mechanism of modeling and scheming to satisfy the conditions set up, the problems created by those feelings that are in turn a reaction to an environment. And we know that all of this just leads to one thing, and that is the survival of the fittest silly game of, kill a million to make your one mega man, and mega cockroaches is all it really makes. Mega assholes, mega idiots, mega monsters.
But I sort of, again, in keeping with Yadvada, sorry, I always leave my options open. I say, I think, yeah, it looks as though consciousness sort of spontaneously emerges from.
It doesn't do it spontaneously, obviously, so that's not much of a way to say it. You're going to be educating a child. I think you ought to get some of this down before you do that. I think you would know the answers to these questions before you would impose life on somebody else. You're saying, I don't understand, I don't know, maybe. Maybe it's a bad idea, and you're just deciding to step into it anyway. I mean, isn't that just overtly obnoxious to sit there and invest somebody else's welfare in your maybes? I mean, the least you could be is confident in your crap. If you're going to impose it on somebody, you should be damn sure. I mean, I should impose maybes on other people. Maybe my brakes on the car are okay. I don't have evidence that they're necessarily bad, but yeah, I didn't check them in 5 years. That's how we should live our lives, with this maybe crap. Yeah, no, sorry.
A new life form, but at the end of the day, we don't know.
We don't know. So he keeps saying this, like, this we stuff, as if intelligent, reasonable people don't know. I'm just saying, if you're a reasonably intelligent person, then a little bit of educating on the subject of chemistry and science, there's no doubt about your origins. There's no doubt about the incremental construction of your consciousness. The fact that your fellow travelers in different classes of organism are carrying a brain very much like your own. The difference being they don't go to high school and all that kind of stuff. But yes, they do the feeling thing. They do the scheming thing. They just don't have the elaborate understanding or modeling that we do. But we see it in the world. It's all around us what's going on. And these are just tools the organism uses to eke out an existence in a very competitive environment where essentially you must murder to make your way.
So, at the end of the day, I don't know, and I don't.
There we go. At the end of the day, I don't know. There's room for not only reasonable doubt, but so much doubt that we'll say I don't know is now the appropriate answer. I mean, you atheists, this is what you go. This is good, solid atheism talk. I don't know regarding evolution. I don't understand. I don't think that makes sense. That's how you look at the world. You think this is atheism in your view? This isn't something but just as bad as creationism?
I don't know how accurate my view that consciousness is probably an emergent property of life, of the living organism. I don't know how accurate.
The living organism seems kind of a catch. But yeah, obviously that's what it is. It's the living organism, but I guess you should be more explicit. That it's an emergent property of, the DNA replicator. At its core, the DNA molecule is the maker of all this stuff. It's evolution. We're the byproduct of that evolution. And certainly you have to be a certain kind of living thing. And all living things are not conscious. You must have the proper tools, the proper hardware.
That is. I don't know how accurate my guess that that's what it is. If anybody would have asked me, that's my...
Yeah, that's his guess. So he's just guessing. It's guessing, it's just pretend again, like, oh, it's just so confusing. There's so many good choices. There's gingerbread theory and little Muffet theory and Goldilocks theory. I mean, there's so many good theories out there. How do I choose?
Yes, it happens when the body springs to life.
When a body springs to life. Well, it doesn't happen when the body springs to life. Okay, it's not just a heartbeat. It's not even brain waves. It's brain waves made coherent through processing. And so a newborn baby isn't incredibly conscious. Maybe a lot less conscious than a newborn deer or a newborn any other kind of mammal, factually. That it is a certain kind of running. There's got to be some software has got to be running. The operating system has to be installed. It's certain rules of it to be called really a computer. It's not a computer if it doesn't have an OS.
Whatever that means, but I don't know. I have nothing to compare that against to figure out how close I am to the truth of the matter.
It doesn't have anything to compare it to. You have lots of fables to compare it to, and they look pretty ridiculous. You have your own imagination to compare it to. Is there something in your imagination that you can come up with that's realistic as an explanation besides biological evolution, besides toolkits, besides agenda and strategy? Besides the need for the biology to come up with some mechanism to make the want real. I mean, needing some way to extort the organism to play the game. You don't see that how the biology would have an incentive to create something that it could, some nuts to crush, that it would have to make the crushable nuts to make the organism really do its bidding. That would be an advantageous circumstance for biological replication, to extort organisms through pain and suffering.
Because we're not even remotely close to that.
So you're saying we're not even remotely close to having an answer, to understanding the truth of our existence and the nature of the universe's function. Not even close. I just, What is somebody supposed to say? What, you think your kid in 7th grade is not going to be able to say, well, look, Dad, it looks like we're pretty fucking close, Dad. All right? I mean, I've seen the, little atomic particles. I've seen all kinds of stuff buzzing around. I've seen the charts. I've seen how the stuff evolves. I've seen the periodic table. Yeah, it seems like we got a lot of this stuff nailed down. It doesn't seem like it's that freaking complicated. It seems like we're a lot closer than you think. You're pretty dumb for an old man.
Um, so, I don't know where consciousness comes from. I don't know where it goes.
Well, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, is there an excuse for anyone to say that? Again, with all the evidence that we have, is there an excuse for any reasonable, semi-educated human being to say, we don't know where it comes from? Is that a reasonable statement? And then where it goes, well, yeah, we do know where it goes. We know that when my kidneys die, my kidneys die. They don't go to kidney heaven. My fingernails aren't going to fingernail heaven. Material parts decompose. They're done. If a hard drive shatters, the information is lost. The computer catches fire. Yeah, you're not going to get anything out of it again. You're not going to get your files back. It's gone. When the brain stops ticking, when the blood pressure doesn't push the blood through the veins and feed the neurons, the identity disappears. The synapses shrivel up, the connections are lost forever, and they're just plain gone, and you don't exist anymore. That's the adult, rational, just preposterously overproven fact of your existence. Your consciousness is a phenomenon of neurons, and when the neurons die, your consciousness is no longer something that is an is. It's a was. Period. Not complicated. Why are you making it a mystery? Oh, because it's to your convenience advantage again, right? The truth doesn't mean anything unless it's convenient. I mean, they ought to have written a book just for you. Convenient truths only. That's your new definition of Buddhism. The new Buddhism. If you don't like it, change it. Make it up. Maybe it away. Pathetic.
I know that for a finite period, or what looks like a finite period to me, it is somehow linked, encased, embedded in a human body.
Right, it's embedded in the brain, but, and again, this embedded, the brain makes it. That's why it has 100 billion neurons. It's because it's creating the theater of your consciousness, the mechanical functionality that will be your consciousness. You can see it working. I can see it right now. It's composing sentences, throwing them into my consciousness, my subconscious, mechanically. And I know the words, and I know the personality, and I know the inflections, and I know all this crap. I can see the programs. These are all familiar programs to me. This is who I am. And when this stops working, that will stop being. Period. Nothing else. No mystery.
Other than that, I don't know.
Again, other than what you don't know. Other than I don't know, I don't know. You didn't, you just basically said I don't know anything, and other than that, I don't know anything. Because why? Oh, that's right, because if you confess that you do know, you'd have to confess that it doesn't look like there's a lot of choices here. This is too messy to play with, and you want to play with it. So the rule that it's too messy to play with, you'll abolish by pretending you don't know.
So, if we assume that, or if we just sort of take as our base point, we do not have a clue.
Again, why would I take that as my base point? It's idiotic. It's retarded. We do have a clue, a huge clue. It's called evolution, Darwin, the human genome. Huge clue. And let's say if I were to do as you're doing and say, I don't know. then why would I assume life is a good? Why would I assume I should impose on somebody else? Why would I assume to take authority for anybody if I don't know what's going on? If I don't know how it works or why it works or why it exists, why would I play with something I don't know anything about? Wouldn't the first rule of a responsible person's life be, don't play with machines you don't know how to use? Wouldn't it be, if you don't have a driver's license, don't drive? If you can't fix nuclear power plants, don't try. You shouldn't be making things that you can't control. You shouldn't be conducting experiments you can't control.
What consciousness is, or where it comes from, which I think ultimately we don't know.
There we go again. He thinks we don't know. No, you know, but you're a liar, or whatever. You want to play a game with it. You want to maybe the truth away. But I certainly know. I know beyond all reasoned doubt I would invest everything that could possibly mean anything to me on this horse. There's no doubt about it. There's no reasonable doubt. There's no any kind of doubt. It is a product of evolution. It's simply a tool, okay, that organisms possess because it is advantageous to them winning a competition. Period.
Reincarnation? Sure, why not?
Like that makes any sense. Yeah, I mean, look, reincarnation as a category of human, yes, that will happen. Humans beget humans. And the only other real argument is reincarnation in what form. I mean, even if there was such a thing as real reincarnation, you'd have to ask the question, well, reincarnation is what? A 10-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 35-year-old, a 75-year-old, a 95-year-old? In each one of these times in your life, you might be in a very different mental state or mental condition. Which one of them is going to be the reincarnation of you? You know, the informed or the ill-informed? So it doesn't really go anywhere anyway. But the truth of the matter is that yes, in a world of 7 billion people, it would be a little idiotic to say, I am the unique snowflake among all the snowflakes. So in the sense of reincarnation, in the sense of being a feeling, needing machine, yes, reincarnation exists. And being reincarnated in the sense of being a male, yes, you'll be reincarnated. There will be reincarnation. So it just depends on how elaborate you want to play with, you know, how meaningfully distinct your personality is, and what traits you think are worthy of a reincarnation.
But all the other stuff with, you know, karma and the golden rule in the Western sense, that I'm not so sure of.
Yeah, karma in the Western sense. Isn't that hilarious? Karma and the golden rule in the Western sense. Karma is in the Eastern sense. Silly person. So really, that's just hilarious. Obviously, there's no evidence of any karma in the justice system or the law that the West has developed. No sense of it at all. No sense of any eternal justice, and certainly no sense of any practical justice, and no will whatsoever to correct bad behavior. So that's just almost nonsensical. But this Eastern bibble-babble is bibble-babble, is woo-woo. It's just religious tripe.
Myself.
Okay, I don't know what that is, a marching band, so we'll skip ahead a little.
It's an emergent property of life, of the organism, but I don't know, and I don't know how.
Right, so he doesn't know that consciousness is just a tool developed through evolution. He just doesn't know that. He's confused, and the evidence just doesn't seem to be decisive at all.
How accurate my assessment of consciousness as emerging sort of spontaneously from the organism is.
Yeah, spontaneously again. Where's the evidence of anything spontaneous? I didn't spontaneously emerge. It took a long time to build me. 9 months in the womb and maybe 18 years outside of the womb to build me. Nothing spontaneous about any of that.
I don't know how accurate that guess is. So, again, I'll just default.
I guess, again, how accurate that guess is. You know, we don't have to guess. We're at where the court is loaded with evidence. The evidence table is just covered with frickin' evidence. There's no guesswork required.
I don't know.
There we go again. He keeps trying to push that idea into your heads. You don't know. You have no reason to believe in evolution. You have no reason to think about 4 billion years of it. And to think about 500 million years, you know, since the first little bugs, you know, in the sea started going ouch. No reason to think about any of that.
Not going back to faith. I'm not going back to some other guess.
Yeah, you're going back to nothing. You're a big fat maybe. If I don't like a truth, I just erase it. Yeah, we got it. The philosophy based on if I want it, I'll just take it. If I find something worth doing for me, I'll do it. What's in it for me? That'll be my prime directive. What's in it for me? And call that being what? Besides being a colossal asshole. And something no reasonably intelligent person would call reasonably intelligent. You can't be reasonably intelligent and advocate for philosophy by convenientism. That's an oxymoron.
It's just, I don't know.
Again, I don't know, but I will have babies. I will impose life. I will jeopardize other things' welfare with my incompetence. Fuck.
But at some finite period, it is.
I mean, I guess you sort of deserved. I hope somebody who doesn't know works on your car. I hope somebody who doesn't know works on your gas furnace or something. I hope you get fucked over really hard by somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Because that's what you deserve.
To the body. How does that pan out? My consciousness at death is no longer linked to the human body, but I don't know if my consciousness is annihilated.
Yeah, he doesn't know. So where do we have any evidence whatsoever that it goes somewhere? Any evidence whatsoever. Just one single shred of a piece of evidence. Besides the testimony of people who never saw a soul, never saw one go anywhere, never visited a heaven. They just believe in it by faith. So that's the only testimony you have to any such theory. I mean, Mickey Mouse, there's more evidence of Mickey Mouse's existence than there is evidence of this silly soul that goes somewhere. Now, I mean, what's the point? This is just so dishonest.
I don't know what consciousness is.
There you go. I don't know. You keep saying it. I don't know what consciousness is. You can't figure out that having sensations that create urgency and then having reflexive knowledge programs to scheme methods of satisfying the conditions created by the sensations. You can't figure that out. That's a mystery. It's a mystery.
How do I know if my consciousness is annihilated upon death? If it isn't...
Well, I'm just saying, how do you know is because every single shred of evidence indicates that that's what it is. It's a machine. It's a device. Consciousness takes place in the brain by neurons through electricity and chemical interaction. It has a mechanical function just like any other thing. I know if a car doesn't have an engine, it's not going to go anywhere. I know it. I know if it doesn't have a steering wheel, you're not going to be able to steer it. I know it. We know these things. No doubt about it.
Annihilated? It's annihilated. End of story. But I don't know. Nobody's come back from there to tell me.
Nobody's come back from there to tell me. I mean, interesting way to put it. Like, that's what you need to know. When we have every evidence that there's no place you can go in the first place, and no coming back anyway if you could go. So that wouldn't even be possible anyway. But there's every evidence that there's no evidence for any supernatural, phantasmagorical place where hands go or brains go or anything goes. The material thing has an arrangement. The arrangement decomposes and the arrangement no longer exists. The patterns on a tiger die with the tiger. The bark on a tree dies with the tree. The patterns don't get retained anywhere.
But if it isn't annihilated, where does it go?
Silly land of maybe make-believe. There. How's that? Make-believe. Mayberry make-believe. Mayberry. That's where it all goes. Mayberry.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know where it goes. So first he's asking the question, does it go? And then he just keeps asking the question, I don't know where it goes. We already answered the where. It doesn't go anywhere. Your brain doesn't go anywhere. It's an arrangement of neurons. When the neurons die, you die with them.
Is there something terrible about that? Is there something nihilistic about that? I don't think so.
I think there's something totally dishonest about this whole pretending you don't know what evolution is. I think there's something very wrong with that.
If you don't know, you don't know.
I don't think you don't know, and I think you've already confessed in your videos that even when you do know, the convenient thing about your philosophy is that you don't have to pay any attention. If you don't like the truth, destroy it. Pretend it doesn't exist. Take a maybe eraser and erase it. That's your confession of how to be a responsibly intelligent human being on Earth. You don't like the responsibilities that come with your job? Just erase them, right? If the rules of being a bus driver is you can't get drunk the night before your job, fuck it, get drunk. Kill a few hundred people, who cares? Once they're dead, doesn't matter.
I don't think we can't know. But if we can know what consciousness is and where it comes from, where it goes, etc.
Where it goes, again, now we know where it goes, nowhere. We know where it came from, biological evolution, not complicated. Like I said, at 7 years old, your kid's going to have the answer to these questions. Why don't you, I dare you to play this video for your kid when he's 7 years old. And he's going to say, what the fuck are you talking about, Dad? You don't know what evolution is? You're an old fucking, smelly old fucking flabby old man and you don't know what fucking goddamn evolution is?
Yeah, I think it would take a type of knowledge that our Western either-or type thinking is not equipped to address. That kind of...
Yeah, whatever. You can't be thinking rationally that landing on the moon stuff is no way to face reality. Go out there and land on it and pick up the stuff and look at it and test it. No, that's no way to do anything. Rational, pragmatic, practical? No. Fuck that. Put on your maybe hat and, tiptoe through the cesspool.
Question. I have yet to see anybody come up with a reasonable explanation, or at least disputable explanation as to the hard problem of consciousness.
Disputable explanation? Why would they come up with a disputable explanation? But again, the hard problem is an easy answer. Evolution, there was an advantage to synthesizing something that might be called value, to give organisms incentive. And biology just happened to fall on the real thing. While trying to make fake value, it made the real thing. Coke is.
Not only do we don't know what it is, we don't know where it comes from, where it goes.
There we go. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know where it goes. 7 years old, your kid's going to know where it came from. And he's going to know that when neurons die, that part of you dies.
Do you got anything that's feasible, that isn't simply working backwards from a deliberately wrong presupposition? We know that it's not Okay, well, I presume that we know that, you know, I didn't I was a pile of clay laying there and God picked the clay up and built me out of that. I don't have any reason to believe that either. A lot of people apparently do. I don't.
Yeah, a lot of people in the East. But anyway, no answer in the face of volumes of evidence is no better than God as an answer. A silly answer is no worse than a willful and deliberate distortion of reality for convenience. The lie you're living isn't any better, okay, than the ignorance they're living.
Have any concrete reason to believe that my consciousness is an emergent property of matter or life or whatever.
He doesn't have a concrete reason to believe that?
A lot of people apparently do. I don't have any concrete reason to believe that my consciousness is an emergent property of matter or life or whatever.
Okay, see how he put that, matter or life or whatever? As if, yeah, well obviously it's not an emergent property of matter, so to speak. I mean, you know, you'd have to at least include energy in that. It's obviously an emergent property of the combination of matter and energy. You know, but I mean, so he says he has no reason to believe that. There's no reason to believe that consciousness was clearly just part of evolution. That it incrementally was developed through the process of evolution. That organisms incrementally developed sensate brains that became more sensitive, and more capable of doing modeling and scheming, which would be called intelligence. No evidence that that's what's been going on for 500 million years. And I think there is volumes and volumes and volumes of evidence, quite obviously.
It seems reasonable in light of everything else that I know in science, but again...
It seems reasonable, so he has no evidence, but yet it seems reasonable. I mean, this is such double speak.
That's too much of an induction for me for a question so vast, is there?
It's a vast question. I don't think it's vast at all. Vast? Where did my brain come from? Yeah. Evolution. Yeah, ooh, vast. And so again, intuition? No, it's called biology. Okay, biology isn't called intuition. Physics isn't, you know, intuition. Chemistry isn't intuition.
But I can't just say that my science has solved so many other things for me that it's probably right in this regard, and that the only thing that I can assume is that, scientifically speaking, there's no evidence for anything other than emergent property of the organism. That...
Yeah, so that was what? You know, it's not, you know, it's like you're arguing almost like science is supposed to be some kind of faith thing. Oh yeah, well it's hit the jackpot before for me. It's my lucky 7. No, the evidence is there. You don't have to bet on it. It's there. There's no betting. You can see that there's no way to lose. There's no way you could throw the dice and come up with a wrong answer. There's no reasonable hope for any of the supernatural mumbo-jumbo theories. No hope.
Therefore, it's probably an emergent property of the organism. No, I can't look at it that way.
He won't look at it that way. So it's just not, you know, again, playing with words. He can't, no, he won't. Because that would impose responsibility, and it would create the answer that to the definition of the problem, and he doesn't want to have to deal with that truth.
I just don't know.
Liar. I don't believe you. I really don't. I really don't believe you don't know. You don't want to know. You don't want it to be true. But don't tell me you don't know. Did you have some real doubt? So go ahead, lie to your kid. Say that to your kid when he's 7 years old. When he shows you the biology book, shows you the pictures of the fossils and the rest of it. Go ahead and lie to him and tell him you sincerely don't understand. You don't know.
And I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, tell your kid he doesn't. You don't think he knows.
The scientific explanation, or not really objection, but caveat to the scientific explanation.
Caveat.
It's also that disbelief, or lack thereof, anybody knows. What consciousness even is.
I hit the wrong button.
Do I believe in reincarnation? No. Do I believe in anything?
There we go.
No.
There we go.
And that belief.
There we go. Do I believe in anything? No. So why are you doing this? Why are you having conversations on the internet if you don't know anything?
Is also that disbelief, or lack thereof, lack of belief, is also part and parcel of my objection to the scientific explanation. Or
Right. So you're just a fan of idiocracy. We need more people walking around denying the truth. Yeah, great.
Not really objection, but caveat to the scientific explanation. Scientifically, the only possible answer is emergent property, but I have no evidence of it.
Right, evolution. No evidence of evolution.
So I'm going to have to say that the scientific explanation of consciousness is a belief. I don't believe that.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's like faith. It's just a fable, just a fake story. It's not based on reasoning, logic, combination of evidence. No, it's just a silly story told by silly people. I mean, it's just so disgusting. Like I said, you're gonna spit these lies at your kid. My father lied to me like you're gonna lie to your kid. I'd hate his fucking guts.
Don't have any evidence. I don't believe anything without any evidence, but then really is it a belief?
Again, who does this? What rational person does this? Explain to me, who rationally goes through their lives this confused and yet still aggressive? So you're going to aggressively run people, you're going to aggressively act in the world, and yet claim you don't know what you're doing. Amazing.
I can watch what my mind does. We can observe brain patterns and all that kind of thing from the outside, but we can't ultimately experience what consciousness is experiencing. I can't in some way understand what my son is doing right now. He's intuiting his way into...
Well, he's not a good example of consciousness right now. He's really not. He's developing an operating system. He's being programmed to understand gravity and mechanics and basic function, and then language will start to have to be learned, and blah, 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 blah. We know that routine.
Phenomenal reality. He's feeling his way in. I don't...
Yeah, well, I don't even know how much of that he's doing yet.
know what that's like. I can only assume that it's like one of those weird...
Yeah, you don't know what it's like because your brain doesn't register any memory of you doing it. So that's right, because your brain doesn't have any point in torturing you in its current state. Until it knows how to function in the world in terms of the mechanics of the world, there's just no advantage in a baby being sentient, because it can't learn anything from its experiences. It can't function yet.
Twilight Zone episodes where you're suddenly in an area where all the laws of physics are wrong.
So you would throw somebody into a Twilight episode. So that's what you would do. You would feel okay about forcing somebody to live out the average Twilight Zone episode. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a nice thing to do to anybody. They all didn't go all that well, you know.
Where the laws of physics don't resemble yours. Where you're in a universe made up of non-Euclidean geometry. Um,
Yeah, like I said, at 7 years old, your kid's going to be saying, "Who the fuck is this asshole? What the fuck is he talking
I assume that's what it looks like to him. But again, I know that that's an assumption. I don't know. I can't experience his experiences. Um,
about?" Well, whatever. You can imagine them well enough. You can do that. Consciousness is not that special. Yes, the personality, the flair that we place on it, how big our noses are, does come in variety. But the rest of it's all pretty same old, same old.
so, do I believe in reincarnation? No, but that's simply part of my not believing in anything. Anything.
Okay, it's just the same as him not believing in anything. Isn't that just so fucking special? I don't believe in anything. And I do philosophy videos on the internet, and people actually listen to this tripe. There'd be positive ratings for saying silly things like life is too confusing for us to understand. Scientists are silly.
At all. Belief implies you know something without proof? Or you accept
Again, yeah, without evidence, right? So there's this ton of evidence for evolution. We haven't proven evolution. There's no proof of evolution, you silly atheists.
something without proof? Or you accept something even, I suppose, as an educated guess, and you just treat that as a fact?
Again, educated guess. That we have to guess. Like it was 1,000 years ago, evolution was an educated guess. It's not a guess anymore. It's a fact, a proven fucking fact.
Even though it's an educated guess, I believe that makes it a belief.
I believe you're evil and probably do smell like shit.
And I think that everybody who does sort of believe in certain things or say that they believe in them, I'm not really sure that they believe in them themselves. I think that they might.
Yeah, right. You're so full of shit. I'd love to see you tied into the old polygraph with this crap. And tell me you haven't contrived this philosophy because you're just a selfish motherfucker who somehow figured out that, oh yeah, it doesn't really matter. There is no punishment for crime. So crime does pay. And that's about as far as you've thought.
Use that term to describe their provisional acceptance of these ideas. And that's what I do. I provisionally accept that my consciousness probably is something that's in some way inextricable.
Yeah, you're not provisionally accepting. You just insulted the fuck out of the acceptance. You just basically said it until it counts, until that means as soon as that means something, as soon as that fact means something, that's what provisional means. As soon as it's to my convenience, I'm jumping out of the car and letting it run right into the nursery school.
Linked to this physical body. But I guess I said that I just believe that, but I guess I wouldn't really say it that way. I don't really believe it, but the assumption is that that's what it is. But that assumption is open to be disproven at any moment.
Yeah, well, whatever. Open to be disproven by what? Annie, Fanny, Saturn, or Fanny stories?
It's not something upon which I'm going to build a large and coherent philosophy on that gigantic assumption.
Yeah, whatever. Assumption. So assuming the the fossil record, the human genome record. What part of this crap are you saying that requires assumptions?
The assumption that we know what consciousness is, or what its link is to the phenomenal universe.
Right. What its link is to the phenomenal universe. So we don't know what a claw is. We don't know what a sharp tooth is. We don't know what the shell on a turtle is. We don't know what any of the other tools that organisms were given to make them more survivable. It's mystery. What is the mystery of the shell of the turtle? What does it mean to the universe, the shell of the turtle? Ooh, it's mystery. Yeah, we can't understand it. It's too quantum beyond us, this shelling of the turtle. Ooh. No, it's just a tool, idiot. Fucking tool, idiot.
We don't know, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that to ourselves.
Yeah, whatever. There's nothing wrong with being one of me. Yes, be one of the maybeites. The glib maybeites that just keep making a fucking mess. Fuck. Scum of the earth.
That we don't know.
We don't know, but we'll presume to tell other people what we think, and then we'll impose it on them. Because we don't know. And that means we can impose anything we want, because we don't know. Yeah, that makes sense. Fuck. No, that doesn't make any sense. If you don't know, then why don't you lock yourself in your goddamn room and quit making a mess in the world, you fucking cunt.
I suppose that's Syad Vada too, isn't it? In some ways, it is. In some ways, it's...
Yeah, in some ways, you might as well call the fucking rest of these fucking Eastern religions just as wacky as the rest, if this is the kind of fucktarded moron it can produce. Shit.
Not, and in some ways, as in trying to figure out what all this looks to my son, it's probably inexpressible anyway, even if I could figure it out.
Yeah, well, he's gonna figure out how to say, God damn it, you're a dumb motherfucker. You'll figure out how to say it. Glib, disgusting, putrid pile of fucking goddamn human garbage. A perfect example of itty fucking-ocracy. Set loose. Fuck. No, that would be enough, I think. Till next time.